Okay, so we have covered, I think, the hard part, and we've only covered it. We really only skimmed the surface because many things are going to come up over the course of the school year. And you're going to be like, oh my gosh, what do I do? This has never happened before. It always happens. Every year something will happen that you are not prepared for, but it's okay. You get used to it and you just kind of take it in stride. So now it's time to talk about, in my opinion, the fun stuff. We kind of have an idea. We've got a behavior plan in place. We've got a classroom management plan in place. So now let's talk about some ways that we can manage the materials in our classroom and have an organized classroom. So I'm going to have a little bit of a gender bias here, but I think it's okay because I admire it, and it's a quality that I want to have in my classroom. Most of the men who teach, and I go into their classroom or I walk by their classroom, they don't have a lot of crap. They're different than females. I know getting your classroom cute and fun and looking on Pinterest for ideas and doing all these cute things, it's fun, and it makes for a really good environment. It makes for a good environment in a classroom. But don't forget, the key to the good environment is you. Your attitude, your demeanor, your disposition, you greeting kids at the door every day, that sets the tone. That creates the environment. So keep that in mind. And you may or may not have heard this in your classroom settings, but I think most people will tell you this. Don't worry about having your classroom decorated. Have your materials ready to go. Have your lesson plans ready to go. Have your procedures in place. Have your rules in place. That is absolutely correct. Do not let the fun part of teaching, the decorating and the cutesy and all of the bulletin boards and the border and the cute posters and all of that fun stuff, do not let that give you tunnel vision, okay? Get your plan into place. Then you can decorate. And guys, I promise you, I've taught for 9 years, and every single year my classroom has changed. Every year it changes. So it's one of those things you add to it, you take away, you get rid of, you bring in more. But let's backtrack, because I think I'm probably talking more to the ladies than I am to the gentlemen here. I admire men whose classroom, who they don't have a lot of stuff, maybe they have some posters of, like whatever football teams or that kind of stuff, but they don't have a lot of junk. And the materials areas are very clear. The teacher zone is very clear. This is my space. You don't go and grab pens and pencils off of my desk if that's one of your procedures. This is where we turn in work. It's uncluttered. It's taken care of. This is where the books are. These are where the calculators are, etc., etc. So having a clean and clutter-free classroom, I think is essential. And I think a lot of us we get busy teaching, and we don't clear the clutter. We don't, we have too much stuff. So how do you want to manage your materials? What do you want to do with your stuff? How do you want to store it? Do you have cabinetry? Is it labeled? Do you have, I know, first, second, kindergarten teachers, oh my gosh, all of the stuff that they have. I have seen classrooms that have bins upon bins of blocks and dolls and Legos and all of this kind of stuff, which is necessary. They need those things. They need those manipulatives for those kids to play with, and that's okay. But you've got to have things put away, and you've got to have your desks cleaned off. Your floors need to be clean, and I think your classroom can look cute and still not be too junky. I don't think you want a junky classroom because it can be discouraging to you as a teacher at the end of the day when you've had a great instructional day, but you've got mounds and piles of papers on your desk because you haven't taken 10-15 minutes to sort it out every day. And so then on the weekend or after school, you're going to spend 2 hours sorting it out, and you're losing time. So keep that in mind. How do you want to manage paper? How quickly do you want to get materials and assignments back to kids? How do you want to store your lesson plans or your instructional materials? How do you do those kinds of things? And so I'll share with you some pictures and some ways that I do that. But even still doing that, I still find that at any given time, I will have 2 to 5 boxes or bins or things that need to be sorted out. And I'll start the sorting out process, and then something will come up, like it's okay, I got to get ready for a sub, so I got to dump everything and put it away so that everything's cleared off for the substitute. And that is no way to be. Set your timer or designate a time to take care of those things, because you don't want your kids working in an environment that is hazardous, that is cluttered, or that makes you look like you don't have it together. And it's important for a lot of kids to see that the adults in their lives have it together. Whether you do or not, you can at least look like you have it together. So think about those things. How are you naturally organized? Are you a piler? Are you a filer? Do you prefer binders? Do you want to go paperless? Do you save everything digitally? How do you want to do those things? It's all up to you. It's whatever works best for you. But let me leave you with this little tidbit. Leonardo da Vinci, great thinker, great mind. Best quote ever. I just think it's just the best. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. So keep that in mind. Make a plan how you want to manage your materials, and we'll look at some options next time. So you guys have a great day.